I was wondering what was going to happen to Mission Impossible 7 because domestically, the movie underperformed a little bit. Made about, I think, $80-something million at the domestic box office, an estimated $80 million. But what saved it was the international numbers. Did pretty good. Talked about this on my show Saturday. It's crazy that it's not doing a little bit better than it is here, especially when you compare the great, massive box office of Top Gun. That movie made bank over here. And you would think this one would do a little better. Maybe it's the fact that it's Mission Impossible number 7. That could be a thing. And I liked the movie. I give the movie a 7 out of 10. I thought it was fine. The action scenes in this movie are amazing. Some of the best action I've seen all year in a new movie. Really good stuff. And the movie's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. And I think it should do well. Now, what will probably end up being good for this movie is I think it'll have legs. I think it'll have positive word of mouth, which is honestly the biggest thing a movie needs for any kind of relevancy anymore. You can have all the marketing in the world, but that good word of mouth is what really drives ticket sales now. I mean, that's what you're seeing with Sound of Freedom, which we'll get to in a second because that movie's doing really, really good. Looks like it's going to easily hit my 100 million prediction. In fact, it'll probably make more than that, to be honest. But here are the numbers for Mission Impossible. It's making about 155 million from the international box office, which gives it about 235 million global through its first 5 days of release. That's a mighty worldwide tally, especially for the 7th installment in a 27-year-old action franchise. And, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think it didn't do as good as it did. Because of the fact that you really need to watch 6 movies, right, to really enjoy this. Now, I've only seen Mission Impossible 1 and 2, and I skipped right to 7 because of the fact that, well, I was curious about all the hype. Now, what it did do was make me curious about the rest of the films. So I'm probably going to go back and watch them all. The reason I stopped is because after the second one, which is an awful movie, the second one is an awful movie, I dipped out. I never came back. And I guess I should have because I hear 3 is amazing and the rest are phenomenal movies. So I'm going to go back and watch them. I picked up the Blu-ray 4K box set during Prime days. So I will watch them very, very soon. Problem this movie is going to face going forward, though, is that, as you can see here, IMAX screens contributed $25 million to this movie. And what comes out this weekend? Nolan's Oppenheimer movie, which is going to take up all of the IMAXs. I hope that they will still give this movie some IMAX. So, yeah, the biggest thing, as they point out here, next week Barbie and Oppenheimer come out. That's going to maybe knock it down a little bit, though. I think this movie will still have some legs. I think it's going to make a lot of money overseas. How it does domestically is the real question because I'm sure it's going to have a drop next weekend and the weekend after that. This movie, I remind you, is pretty expensive. It's up there with Indiana Jones. So it needs to make a lot of money, probably about $800 million to break even. But at $235 million start, it's possible that it could hit it. So I'd like to see it do well. And the reason I'd like to see it do well is because it's a movie that doesn't try to be woke. And it does seem like this movie's first mission is to entertain, which I appreciate. But back to that word of mouth thing. You've got Sound of Freedom, making big bucks as much as people hate this movie. Well, not everybody. It's like the big Hollywood people hate it. Don't want Angel Studios to succeed because Angel Studios is legit competition to them. Clearly going after more right-leaning Christian audiences. Maybe not so much this movie, but their content seems to try to cater to that crowd. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it's a crowd that does deserve to have companies cater to it. Because all they do lately is cater to the left, and it's created a vacuum of people that are looking for content, and it seems like this Angel Studios wants to deliver it. But if you do that, you, of course, are demonized by all these outlets. So I like seeing them do well and kind of defy the system, which is what they're doing here. This movie is making big, big bucks, despite all the weird shit going on with it. And I believe it's at $80 million right now, which means it's making more money than The Flash. Because The Flash, oh no, I'm sorry. The Flash brought in 700, no, it did not make that. It grossed, okay, 106 million domestically and only brought in 720,000 in its fifth weekend at the box office. That is really sad. But as they point out here in this article, this movie is expected to cross the 100 million mark sometime this week before its third weekend in theaters. This film could even beat out the Walt Disney Company's Elemental, as well as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie could make more money than giant Hollywood blockbusters. And this movie is already making more money than them, by the way, because this movie only cost like $15 million to make. This movie has a cheap budget, and it's already making money. Where will this film end, though? That's the thing, because theaters keep filling up. So I'm curious to what the final number. I don't even think this has gone international yet. What is this going to do internationally? This movie could be a massive hit. And I think what's really pissing off all these outlets is the fact that this film is a massive hit and it's outgrossing big Hollywood studios, which is, I think that's great. I think it's funny. I like seeing them do bad. All they do is put out garbage. So, you got this movie come along with some substance, and it's something different, and people are flocking to see it. Flocking to see it because it's doing well. But there's a lot of weird shit going on with this movie. A lot of weird stuff. Especially with the air conditioning thing, and there's some videos out there of it messing up while people are watching it, like it's going to code and stuff. It's really weird. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and my Locals, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.